everyone, so glad you're here today. We are going to be making the flippin' floppin' chicken card. So when you pull this tab over here, the card is going to flip and flop. Isn't that cute? Hi Stampers, this is Dawn, and today we're going to be making one of those fun folds that just make you laugh all the way down deep inside your belly. Oh my gosh, this card is so cute. So the card on the right here, using this adorable donkeys, remember the darling donkey stamp set we had for celebration? Sharon sent me this card and oh my gosh, I fell in love with it. Look how cute. So it does require a little pull at the end. So after you pull it out, then just give it an extra little pull and it flaps open. So of course Sharon said this card is so easy, and I was thinking it had a rubber band in there because when you move the card, you can feel something like a mechanism that's kind of like a rubber band feeling, but it's not. It's actually cardstock. And so she sent me this video link to this girl named Tamara, and her video is from the original creator, which is done in centimeters. So thank you, Tamara, for converting the measurements. So this is Sharon's card once again. Now Sharon has hers on a full-size card like this, and I will say, let me share here, she called it the flippin' surprise. So I ran with that to call it the flippin' and the floppin' chicken card. So this is the chicken one using the Hey Birthday Chick and the Hey Chick stamp sets. So when you pull this one, the chickens are exposed. And I'm using the basic white as the pulling card. Isn't it cute? So we're going to show you how to make this card. And then also I made mine into a full-size card like Sharon did. But today we're just going to make it into our card front. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Pieces for your mechanism for your base of your card, that's the pull part. So I'm using the Daffodil Delight, and this piece is cut at 4 3/4 by 7 1/2, and we're going to score this piece together. Then a piece of basic white, this piece is cut at 3 1/4 by 6 1/4, and we're going to score this piece together. So now this is going to be your mechanism or your roller part for the card to pull out and snap. And this piece is cut at 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. Okay, and we're going to score this piece too. Now, when I made this card with my team, let me show you the version I made with them. Here's the one I made with my team last week. So this one is using the cinnamon cider and the bumblebee. And it's the same layout as the one we're going to make today, but I made it in a different color. But what's different with this one is I didn't score the in-between lines, and I will explain that as we get to that part. But we're also going to change that part up today. So you're going to have 3 different ways to do this little 2 1/8 by 2 1/8 piece. So this is at 7 1/2, and then it's by 4 3/4. Yep, that's correct. Okay, so we're first going to score at 3 1/4 along the 7 1/2 inch side. So 3 1/4, score that. Then we're going to turn it on the 4 3/4 side, and we're going to score this at a 1/2 inch on both sides. So a 1/2 inch over here, then turn it, and then a 1/2 inch over on this side. Okay, so now we're going to cut it. So you're going to notice on this piece here, let me actually fold this so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so you're going to fold your score lines, and you're going to notice that one side is smaller. So this is the 3 1/4 inch side. Then over here is the larger side. So we're going to cut on the longer side. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our 4 3/4 side across the top on that 1/2 inch score line. We're going to line this up at a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to take our cutting blade, and I'm going to line this up at about 4 1/4. I'm using my cutting arm over here. So line that up at about 4 1/4 and then cut that up. Then we're going to go ahead and turn this, and we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on this side. So line it up at a 1/2 inch and then cutting down to 4 1/4. Okay, so now you have your 2 cut lines right here. Let me grab my paper snips. Then we're going to go ahead and remove those tabs. Okay, Then you might want to angle cut or, you know, do a little mitering right here on this tab. And then this one over here, as well as the other end if you want. I might as well go ahead and do that. Miter it down here, just a smidge. Okay, so now it should look like this. Then we're gonna grab our basic white piece. Remember, this piece is cut at 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. So let me just double check this measurement. 3 1/4 by 6 1/4. Yep. Okay, so now we're just gonna score this along the 6 1/4 inch side across the top at 2 3/4. We don't wanna cut, we wanna score. Okay, so then this is gonna make your little book part that pulls out and does the flip-flopping. Okay, so for this piece, we're gonna use our Simply Scored. Remember, this piece is the basic white and it's cut at 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And we're gonna score at 1/2 inch. So right here on one end, and then turn it and score it again at 1/2 inch on the opposite side. Okay, so then in between these 1/2 inch score lines, we're gonna score it at every 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so there's our little mechanism. Now, when I made mine the first time using these measurements here, the 1/8 score lines, I was having a hard time folding these score lines, well, except for the 1/2 inch. At those 1/8 of an inch, those are very hard for me to fold and burnish. So what I did for this one, as you can see, it still works, right? So what I did for this one is I just took the square and all I did was I took my bone folder and I just burnished that center part of that 2 1/8 piece. So you basically want that center part to curve and you want all those card fibers to be broken down. So this piece of the mechanism part rolls really good. So you basically want it to go like this. You really want this to roll like that. Really nice. So the more you take your bone folder and burnish that, the center section of this piece, the more it's going to be easily to roll when you're opening up that card. So I did that just a few times to break down those fibers. So then Sharon, when I was talking to her on our team event, she said that she scored it and she didn't even fold the score lines. So she just burnished the 1/8 marks and then she just put it in the card just like that, and it worked fine because you can see on the donkey card it rolled really good. So today I thought I would try it with the scoring of the 1/8 marks, right? And then take my bone folder as well and break down those card fibers even more. So I won't even worry about actually folding those marks in between there. Can you see how little those score lines are? You just have to do something to make those card fibers at least a little bit more pliable. So when the card is moving, it's gonna flow really nicely, okay? So the more you do the burnishing of that piece, I think the better. Okay, so now we're gonna make a tag to pull on the card part right here at the end, so that pulls. So what we're gonna use is the scallop tag topper punch, and I have a piece of the Daffodil Delight, and this is about 2 inches wide, and we're just gonna set that in the punch, and we're going to punch that end. So not only does it make a decorative edge, but it also puts the hole for the ribbon to be pulled onto at the end. So just cut your tag punch size down to about 2 inches after you cut the decorative edge on it. Okay, so I'm going to use the liquid glue. I'm going to put our tag pull onto our little card base. So now you're going to notice over here too, this end right here, that's the longer end, is where we're going to put our pull at. So I'm just going to put my tag right here at the end. Okay, so I'm just centering that between the card base, and I'm just wanting that hole that hangs over for the pull. Okay, so we're just going to put that right there. And then I got my mechanism part here. And then I'm going to grab my tear and tape. We're going to put tear and tape on our mechanism. Okay, now I'm only going to remove one end of my tear and tape. Okay, so now we're going to take our little card here with the tab, and we're going to take our 2 1/8 piece. Remember, we got tear and tape on both ends. We're going to put it right at the end once the card is folded. Okay, so fold it over and then put this right in the middle on that edge, just like that. Okay, so now your one end with the tear and tape backing should still be on there. Then we're going to take our base. We're going to layer our card, so the longer end is going to be on the right hand side, and then the 2 tabs right here should be on this side. Take our fold here, we're going to fold this back, fold it back on itself just like that, and then we're going to put this into the card. We're going to fold this over. Now this is where we want to pull this layer out. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so you can see me pulling the little mechanism right here out. We don't want to see that coming outside of this edge of the daffodil. So what we're going to do is we're just going to push that back in just before it comes out, because you don't want to see that part. Okay, go ahead and center this piece right between this daffodil bottom layer, and then make sure my tab is just on the edge before it peeks out. Okay, then we're going to take our tear and tape on this end here, remove that. I just don't want to lose my position on my card here. Okay, so this is why you want to keep that tear and tape on the back, because once you fold this down, then it's going to be locked in. Once we have that in place, then you're going to go ahead and seal that down where that tear and tape is on the inside here. So then you can see how this is going to work. So once it gets to that point where that mechanism is, that card is going to flap over. I love it. I love it. All right, now this was another thing that Sharon shared with me, but I'm going to do it the way I did it because that's what I'm familiar with. So Sharon said that she put her tear and tape on this side here, and then she wrapped it around the back. So then you wouldn't even have to worry about the second layer that I'm going to tell you about. And I'm saving that layer of the designer paper for last because I want you to put that piece on last. So she wrapped it around to the back, and then you wouldn't even have to worry about this piece of designer paper, what I'm going to show you right here. So this piece right here is the one I'm talking about. This layer right here. Okay? So if you wrap it to the back, you won't have to worry about the extra piece of designer paper that we're going to talk about next. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on like I did when I did the card, the original way. Yeah, we're going to put our tear and tape over here on this side. So this will matter when you're actually putting this part of the card together, because if you put the tabs to the back, then you would be putting the adhesive on the inside of the tabs right here, because then you'd fold this over and then this would go on the back side, right? But since we're going to be putting it on the inside, you're going to be putting the tear and tape on this tab and then folding this over, okay? So let's go ahead and peel that off. So then we're just going to fold our tabs in and then fold this over and seal that down. Okay. Now this is the predicament that we're in, because if you pull this out, it works great. But it's when it goes back in. She put it, the tabs, remember we were talking about the tabs, wrapping it around to the back side. I don't know if you can see this or not, but those tabs, since we put it on the inside here and over here, it's hindering this card part to go back in. So now this is where this extra piece of designer paper comes in handy. So let me grab that. Okay, so I have another piece of the designer paper that we're going to decorate the card with, and this is the daffodil. This is the polka dotted side, but we're going to use the opposite side. So I'm going to go ahead and put some tear and tape on the opposite side here. So we got 2 strips, and once again, we're only going to work with one side at first. This might be the most difficult part of this whole card, is adding this piece of designer paper. So my hat's off to Sharon for doing it the back way, to put the tabs on the back, because then you won't even have to worry about this piece. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the piece of the tear and tape that's exposed. So this piece is cut at 1.5 by 3.5. Let me just make sure. Yeah, 1.5 by 3.5. And we're going to slide this in. Now this piece is only going to be serving as covering up those tabs. You're going to have an edge because it's cut slightly smaller. And all I'm doing is I'm just lining that up. And then you're going to press that tear and tape side down on that. And then we're going to take our tear and tape backing off of the other piece, which you're not going to be able to see me do this very well. Just remove that backing on that piece and then slide that down. Then when you pull it, it's going to slide in perfectly because it's covering up those tabs that would normally have caught on that. So now that you understand why you're using this piece last, will help you determine on which way you want to do it. If you want to add the tabs to the inside, or do you want to wrap them around to the back? Okay. All right, now this piece where the tab is, and this side, I'm just going to use the basic white, and I've went ahead and already stamped on those with the chicken stamps. So these are my 2 pieces. This is for the flat part of the card. This piece is the 3 by 3.25 piece of basic white. It's just going to layer onto that side to cover up that tab. And then this piece is cut at 2.5 by 3. And that's going to layer over here. Okay, so let me go ahead and put these pieces together. Cute, so you can see how it rolls in there. Now we're just going to go ahead and stamp on this section right here. Since it's like an empty space, it just needs another chicken there, right? So that's what I was thinking. So I'm going to actually color that and stamp it with you today. So we're going to use our Memento ink, and I'm going to take my cute little dancing chicken here. I'm just going to stamp him maybe like this. He looks like he's doing the wobble thing there. So for my Stampin' Blend markers, these are the colors that I used for all my chickens here. So the crumb cake I used for the front chicken, which is right here. I'll show you that one. This is for that chicken. And then I used the light crumb cake to ground the chicken, which we'll do for that. But then I used the Mango Melody, the Flirty Flamingo, the Highland Heather, Pool Party, and the Pumpkin Pie. So let me just go ahead and color in this cute little chicken. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so let me bring in my other layers. So now remember, we're using a quarter sheet, which is cut at 4.25 by 5.5. Then a piece of basic white, which is cut at 4 by 5.25. And then a piece of the Mango Melody with the polka dotted side with the designer paper. This is in the Brights collection. This is cut at 3.75 by 5. And then for the front of my pocket piece right here, this piece of the basic white is cut at 3 by 3.5, and then the designer paper, which is also the opposite side for the polka dots for the daffodil, this piece is cut at 2 7/8 by 3 3/8. Okay, so let's go ahead and layer all these pieces together. Okay, so now these are all my pieces. I took the happy birthday And then the Let's Celebrate You is going to go on the front. And I popped all the layers on the front up with dimensionals. And then I took the greeting, Let's Celebrate You, this right here, and I just divided the greetings up. And then we're just going to layer these. I stamped this chicken on the basic white, and I cut them out with the ovals, the layering ovals. And we're going to pop these up for the front. And I used the Mango Melody for that. So this is going to say, Let's Celebrate You. So cute. And then we're going to put this onto our quarter front here, just like that. But before we do that, we're going to decorate the insides. So I forgot to stamp my greeting here. Have a happy day. That's going to stamp right over here with this cute little chick. Have a happy day. And then the other two greetings are going to get on the inside of the card. So we're going to open it up. Then this one is going to get happy birthday over here. And then you're still a spring chicken. Remember, this is one greeting, but I just divvied it up. Like that. Isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. I love it. So what I did is I stamped more chickens for the back layer so you'd have a place to sign. But I want to show you another place you can sign too. So let me go ahead and put this onto the back. Okay. So now when you pull the card, you can sign the card back here if you want. Okay. So we're just going to fold that up, and I'm going to get my liquid glue. And I'm going to put this piece right onto the card front. Put that right there. Move it over just a smidge. Okay, then we're going to grab some ribbon. I'm using the Daffodil Ruched ribbon. Just going to cut a piece off of that. And I'm just going to make a loop. And we're going to feed this through our end right here. Through, and then feed our tails into that. Okay, and then we're going to trim those tails off. So then the person knows to pull that. There's your card. Isn't it cute? Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, Tamara. Oh my gosh, so much enjoyment to make this card and to give it to somebody. Okay, let me show you the other ones. So here's Sharon's card with the darling donkeys. Isn't it cute? Love it. And then here's this one. When you've moved this card, you're going to think it's so complicated, or it's like a rubber band like I did. And then here's the one with the cinnamon cider and the bumblebee. So cute. And then this one I think is one that, yeah, this is the full-size card that I also added the inside to, just like this one that we made today. Okay? All right. So, hey, if you have any questions, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and then hit that notification bell and you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. And then also I'll have all the items listed down below. Okay, so thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Bye.